Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel slash the podcast. I've been like super MIA. It's just been like crazy. I had my winter break and I actually took a Jan term class, so that's why I was mostly MIA because it was like Monday through Thursday, and like that was crazy because I had to be up at like 6 o'clock, drive an hour out to school, and then I would have to sit there for 3 hours, get out at 12, then do the hour drive back home, and then go to work. So I was just like, I was tired. I was not feeling it. But I kind of have a little bit more free time now because of I'm back in, what do you call it? Like the new term. I'm back in the new term now, so my classes are a little bit like not that long, like maybe like an hour. So an hour 30 minutes, like not too bad. So now I have more time to like film, and I'm like, I need to update the pod, I need to update the channel, because like, where has she been? So ignore the bags under my eyes, ignore my ratchet gross hair. I did just like get out of the shower, and I just have like so many thoughts. I'm so excited about this topic that I really wanted to just like get into the video. So get into the video, get into the podcast. Whenever. Ooh, you heard that note? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So basically, welcome back, guys. So, I usually do like a little intro and all that, but to be honest with you, I think this might be a long video. Maybe it won't be. I'll see, cause like I'm kind of tired, but like I also have so much to say, so I don't know. Do I want to? I'll do an intro. Welcome to Classy and Pink Lessons, my loves. And so today's topic, we're going to be talking about power and how to be a successful leader. Successful leader. um so for those of you that don't know, I'm a poli-sci major, and at first like, I really thought like I would hate poli-sci, and I really did at first. I was like, oh shit, like this shit's fucking hard. Like I went from a crim major to a poli-sci major, and like with crim it was just like, like fingerprints and shit, and then I went to poli-sci and so I was like, the law, and I'm like, the law, I don't fucking know what's going on. And so I think one teacher that I had, actually, like my first time actually taking a poli-sci class, he actually really like inspired a lot of like my thoughts, and really got me like more interested in the subject. Because like when I first took that class, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this, I might drop this, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, maybe I made a bad decision. But the more classes like I take on the subject, the more intrigued I am by it. I think I'm more intrigued by like the I wouldn't necessarily say the philosophy aspect of it. I think I'm more intrigued by like the thought process of a lot of these people, a lot of these theorists, whatever you want to call them. I think I'm intrigued more on that aspect, because a lot of them, for people that like know about the law, or are supposed to be learning about law, they have very like out of box thoughts. So I just find that like really interesting, and I love history as well, so I love learning about stuff like that too, and how it's different, and how they created a difference then, which is now created a difference now, and I just find that like really interesting. But at the same time, minus the political aspect of it, I also think like being a successful leader is something that's really important as well. Especially like me, I'm like big girl boss energy. That's like something I really strive myself to be. It's funny because like I'm actually like shy sometimes. Like most people do know me as shy, but like if you really get to know me, and I start becoming familiar with you, I tend to like come out of my shell more. Like the best way I could describe myself is like if I'm not familiar with something, I kind of like like kind of be quiet. Like almost like you're starting a new job. Like if I'm starting a new job, I'm kind of like quiet, closed off. I don't really want to talk to anybody because like this is like intimidating for me. But as like I learn and start becoming more familiar with what I'm doing, I start to open up more, and then the more I open up, the more I work harder, the more power I want, the more leadership skills I have to provide to others, if that makes sense. That's kind of how like I view myself. And I feel like people only view me as shy because they haven't really had the chance to get familiar with me, and we haven't really like spoken that much so that they could see that side of me. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. But so something that like I really want to talk about that I've been going over in my poli-sci class is The Prince by Cheval can't pronounce things. Nicolo. I'm so sorry. I can't. I'm so out of it today. I've been up since 6 a.m. I'm pretty sure that's Niccolo Machiavelli. So this is the second edition. So I've only read like pages 1 through 57, and I read that like all in one day, and I'm like, how the fuck? Um, but basically it's kind of interesting because like when I first read it, I was like, oh my gosh, like what the fuck is wrong with this man? This man is like insane. This man is like crazy. When you first read it, it kind of sounds very like just I don't know, like inhumane in a sense. Um it's just like I don't really want to like spoil too much of it, but it's like very inhumane. Like the best way I could describe it is like in the one of the pages of the book, he talks about like his views on human nature, and basically I have my notes right here, so I'm kind of like glancing at those too. He basically believes that man is ungrateful and false and cowardly, um, and that they're greedy for power, and men only will really follow you if you're successful, which like, I'm not gonna lie, like I agree. I think a lot of us are power hungry. I think a lot of us secretly only follow other people because we want them, um, because they're successful, and we think that they will make us successful or they will have some type of benefit to us. Because like if you really think about it, like are you gonna follow the weak person or are you gonna follow the strong person? Who's gonna benefit you more? Which I found like really interesting. But minus that, that's kind of like his views, very like inhumane, um, in the sense of that. And so during my political science class today, or political theory, whatever you want to call it, we were actually talking about the first few pages of the book, and I thought a lot of it was really interesting in that you could really compare it to like your work life in a sense. When I read this, when I talk about this, I'm gonna go over my notes too about this. Um, in my perspective, I view myself as like semi Machiavellian, um, because like I wouldn't necessarily say he's like bad, but I would say that he has very different virtues. Like like basically like a virtue like back then, like in that time, basically signified somebody that was like to do good, somebody that did good, or just like a pure person, chastity, whatever. And when it comes to Machiavelli's present, what the fuck, I can't English. Machiavelli's interpretation of virtue, he really sees it as like how you consider like a situation at hand, how you really handle it. Um, he thinks that the definition of virtue is for someone to have signified required skills and manners and morals, and they need to have all these to play a certain role to be a successful leader. And I find that really like interesting because I kind of agree with that, especially like in your professional life. But when it comes to like uh virtue, or not virtue, I'm sorry, like I know necessarily I know it's like a big thing. Like some people consider him amoral. He's definitely not moral. He's immoral or amoral. Um, because personally, the reason why I'm like, oh, I'm like semi Machiavellian is because I believe in those things in my professional life, but in my like outside of professional life, I believe in morality. I'm somebody that believes in doing good and you'll get good, you know. But is that because of society or is that because of religion? That's also something I wanted to touch on as well. Like why be moral? Cuz like if you really think about it, why are we moral? Like because if you really read this, it's really like eye-opening. You're like, "Oh, okay." Like in my professional life, you're so right. Like I should be like I wouldn't necessarily say stern or evil, but like you have to act like that to make an impression. And it's just interesting to think about that because why are we programmed to be moral? And we went over it in my class, and a lot of like my classmates basically said society has created social expectations for us to be morally good, and I kind of agree with that because like I know like majority of our lives, like from kindergarten to now, even our parents told us like, oh, if we be good, we'll be rewarded. So in my own opinion, by doing that, by being moral, I will receive benefits, which is what everybody wants. We all want benefits. That's what we've all been told. We all been told we were going to get benefits. Um, but from a religious aspect, I think religious beliefs also um, have said to us too that like we'll have benefits. Like when you think about the church, they always talk about like sinning and if you be good and stuff like that. And once again, if we be good, we get these benefits, we get these things, and it's just really interesting because they also compare it to our conscience, which our conscience is basically God's knowledge, once again, to do good. And then it's interesting because, like, I don't know where exactly, but our teacher told us this. Machiavelli said, like, that mindset is a disease of the brain. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Because there's some points of him where I'm like, okay, I agree. But then, like, I'm like, bro, relax, shorty. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, he basically says that a conscience, the knowledge of God, is the disease of the brain. And he basically says that if we believe that, we will go into ruin. So like I know this all sounds like really negative and stuff, but if you look at it from a professional aspect, like a work environment aspect or something like that, because his whole thing is to make you a successful leader. It's like if you do this like in your like actual life, that's like, oh girl, like don't do that. I mean, like if you want to do that, like do that, but like he's really trying to say in the sense of professionalism in order to be successful, these are the steps that you need to do because this is how you will get there kind of thing. You know, like he's not bullshitting us. He's not being like, "Oh, if you be nice and be nice to your coworkers, like you'll move up." Like no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying be ruthless. Um and then I basically kind of view this as him saying to keep your eyes on the prize. So basically what is your goal? So if you really think about like your job, your professional life, what is your goal? Because you just don't want to be like moral and let people step all over you. What is your goal? What do you want to do with that? Like do you want to be CEO, be president of your company? Like what? Like do you want to forever be the associate? It's just something to really, really think about because if you want to remain this associate, then continue to be moral. But if you want to move up, you got to make some sacrifices and some decisions. So another thing my professor was telling us is that sometimes in the work environment, in order to do these things and to move up, we have to take blame for things that that like we didn't do, or give credit to people that don't deserve it. Like, you ever done like a group project and somebody doesn't do their half of the work, and you're like, oh, like this person didn't do like half of the work, like I should tell the teacher. Like yeah, you're right. But in like a professional setting, it's like, if you do that, you're just publicly shaming them, and then okay, like yeah, like it makes you feel good. But now you have like this person like, oh, like I don't like you, like blah blah blah. And if you were just to like leave their name on it, like give them credit, they will be like indebted to you. Is that the right word? And basically just be like, thank you for like saving my ass kind of thing. And they'll be more like, hey, like, do you need any help with this? Or like anything, like more loyal to you. And that's kind of like a way of manipulation if you really think about it. Um, Not only that, you have to have a life outside of work. Ooh, excuse me. You have to have a life outside of work. Sorry if you heard my like the little grr. That was my stomach, cause like I'm hungry. But you have to have like a life outside of work, and you really have to think of it this way, which like I agree and I don't agree in this sense. He basically says that a prince must choose from being feared or being loved, and he basically says to choose fear, which I guess I kind of agree. Like I like being loved. Like if I was a world fucking leader, I would want to be loved by the people, but at the same time, will they take me seriously? You know, because I feel like they would take me more seriously if they feared me, and it's not because like I'm mean and all that. It's because I have authority and I'm serious about what I'm doing, you know? Um I lost my train of thought. But yeah. And so back to the moral, immoral, amoral kind of thing. So like in my own perspective, I find Machiavelli to be amoral rather than immoral. Um 'Cause like I don't remember where I read this because I was like doing research on it the other night. But basically, like amoral means to be like have indifferent morals, and I kind of view him as a little bit more amoral due to his values. Um, because I remember there was this one quote like in chapter 6 of the book where he basically says that he thinks the prince should do anything to control his subjects. I mean, that's not crazy. That's not very moral of you. But what else? What else? What else? I think something else that's really interesting is I don't really care about that. I think what else is really interesting too is that Machiavelli argues that it's more difficult to maintain a state than it is to conquer one, and the steps that he says that a prince should take to control newly conquered states, which I find like really interesting actually. Like he has like the typical ones that he says a prince should dominate the neighboring states. He should weaken the strong ones and ensure that the other strong foreign powers are weak basically. And then there's three ways of keeping control as well. And then this is like the quote that I'm like, okay, Machiavelli, I fucking see you, because like I like eyes open, like make me a successful leader, bro. Like, this is the quote that I'm like, I know this shit sounds like evil and like super bad, but like power in organization is like, this quote is the definition of power in organization basically in my own opinion. Um Basically he says that to keep control, you must reduce them to rubble, go and live there yourself, let them live under their own laws, and where is it? Oh, and install like a puppet government. So I think the thing that like really like like I'm just like, okay, like girl, I see you, is the reduce them to rubble thing. Like like I'm not saying like destroy them, destroy. I think it's just interesting because it shows like power, I guess. And I really like that because hold on, sorry, I'm reading this. Because it shows a sense of control, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm not saying like destroy, I'm not saying destroy them or anything like that. I'm just saying that like within these steps it shows a sense of control, and it shows the people how much control the leader has. Um but yeah, so basically I just found like this whole thing like really interesting, and really like comparing it to like professionalism, um because if you really think about it, like I know this sounds like crazy, but you also have to think about like the time period. In this time period, a lot of these people were like eat or be eaten kind of thing, you know? So a lot of people looked for a strong prince, wanted a strong prince, a strong leader, whatever you want to call it. Because once again, people will go for the strongest force, not the weakest force. Nobody's going to fall back on the weakest force. People are going to fall back on the strongest force. And this is really because order is important. Um, basically, like I guess you can say Machiavelli's like instigating violence, which like that I don't agree that I don't agree with. I agree with the sense of like power and organization to make people realize your skills and the type of leader that they have. I agree with that. But when it comes to like the violence aspect of it, I'm like, I don't know about that one, bro. Um, but Machiavelli, this I found like oh my gosh, like you're so fucking right. Like morally, this is like for somebody that's moral, this is very like disgusting. But like again, like in my personal life, I would never follow this. But like in my professional life, I'm like, oh, that's a really good thing to actually live by. Because in the workplace, there are so many people that will turn on you like that just to move up. Just do that. And you really need to think about yourself. You really need to be selfish in these situations. Um, but basically, he says, um, basically the mistakes that a lot of princes make is that if there's somebody threatening the prince, instead of they'll go and kill him, like the person that's threatening him, but instead he doesn't kill their sibling. And it's really interesting. You're like, why the fuck would they kill the sibling? He's innocent. They didn't do anything, you know. But if you really think about it, you're taking out one person, and there's this other person that's connected to them. And if they find out that you took out that one person, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, how dare you? They're gonna start a revolution. They're gonna come after you, kind of thing. And it's interesting because like my professor was telling us this. I'm not sure if he meant like to take out the brother or like the sibling instead of the person threatening him. But like in my mind, I'm like, take them both out. That sounds so bad. But like not like that. Like in the sense of like, because why would you just take one out? Because if you take one out and they both will eventually have the same motivations, you're gonna get a revolution, you're gonna get a fight either way. Why not just knock two birds out with one stone? You know? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just how I'm interpreting it. But again, not in real life. This is like in the professional workplace. I'm not promoting violence. I'm not promoting violence at all. Please don't take it that way. What I'm trying to basically say is that when it comes to coworkers, you shouldn't just be concerned about one person that may be giving you problems. You need to be concerned about two people, because there will always be one person that'll be talking shit to your face, but then that person is also talking shit to somebody else who also has those same ideas. So just keep that in mind. And then I don't think I'm gonna talk about that because it's not really that important. Did I do another page? I did, but like it's not really that detailed. But basically I think I'm gonna end it here because I'm kind of tired and I want to take a nap. But you should definitely read this book. I've only read 57 pages of the book, so like I'm very like not that deep into the book. But I'm like halfway into the book. Like I'm like right here. But it's a fairly interesting book. It's something to really think about. If you're somebody that really like prides themselves on like leadership and really wants to become like a very influential figure, CEO, whatever you want to be, I would definitely recommend that for somebody who's trying to get themselves up there. What I'm trying to say is I recommend this for somebody who doesn't have confidence. That's what I'm trying to say. Somebody that doesn't have confidence in the workplace, I definitely recommend this book. Because it just like kind of gives you a sense of like empowerment in the professional aspect. Sorry, I like startled because I heard like a little crack. But in the professional aspect, it's really like inspiring, actually. If you read it from like an outside point of view, that's somebody that's not really into political theory, history, anything like that. If you're really looking at it just like as a normal fucking person, and you're reading this, you're like, damn, this like bro's corrupt. Bro's trying to like destroy the world, but he's trying to actually promote successful leadership skills. I mean, I don't know. That's personally how I take the book. Overall, I just feel like it's kind of like a guide to politics, and as well as a guide to you know, success. I think it's a guide to success and how you can basically build yourself up from the bottom of the pyramid. It shows how to be strong, basically, is how I interpret the book. And I think people that want higher positions in their jobs should really actually use Machiavelli's steps, not to the point where like you become like this mean person at work or something like that. What I'm trying to like say is like I think you should use the steps silently through your work, through your relationships. I'm not saying be corrupt, I'm not saying be evil. I'm saying show people your skills, your manners, that you mean business, and that you deserve to be a leader. That's what I'm trying to say. But okay, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because like I'm almost at 30 minutes. And I just like, I'm tired, guys. I'm so tired. But I hope like I really inspired you guys. This is a really interesting topic. If you want to learn more about this, I will definitely have more about this. I'm gonna continue reading this freaking book. But I hope you guys are really intrigued by this. And if you want to hear just some more political science stuff and me comparing it to real life and all that, the workplace, professionalism, relationships, friendship, stuff like that, like, let me know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.